Now here we saw two examples where few co-workers are traveling in their private time to attend a marriage. Now this is not a workplace and somebody misbehaves. Also there is a possibility there was an interview online and there was a call from the complainant or the boss at her home or the person who has taken the interview whether you will marry me or something like which was annoying. Now will this be these two examples? Now what is this article saying? In these two examples, would the alleged actions be considered as sexual harassment at the workplace? Such varied cases have come up before ICs, that is intercommittees around the country, which are grappling with trying to interpret the definition of workplace and during the course of work to address such cases. There does not seem to be any judgments from the constitutional courts addressing this aspect presently. There are many procedural aspects in the POSH Act that may need to be relooked at in the light of the experiences of the past 8 years. Firstly, the time limit for filing a complaint by a victim needs to be extended, as the current 3+3 months model is too narrow. It overlooks the fact that many women in India still may not be aware of their rights. Also need to overcome social stigma for even lodging a complaint. Secondly, currently the IC can take up, that is internal committee, can take up an inquiry only if the complainant submits a written complaint, while allowing third parties to raise a complaint has many challenges. It may be worthwhile to consider if the IC can at least conduct a preliminary inquiry without a written complaint. Thirdly, the process currently outlined in Section 11 of the POSH Act does not seem to take into account the ground realities. A majority of the employees in an organization today could be contract labor. See, this is also again one more problem. The POSH Act is totally silent on how to handle cases where a contract laborer is either the victim or the accused. There is a possibility that the victim or the accused may be on the contract basis. This is compounded by the fact that Section 11 says that IC could conduct inquiry where respondent is their employee. There is currently no accepted process to handle such cases. Further, it is totally laughable to ask your employee to approach your vendor's IC, where the vendor's employee has harassed your employee, and it may act as a sort of deterrent for raising a complaint. See, business is also something which may be affected, so there is a possibility that it may not be, they may not heed to the complaint of the victim. Currently, the IC usually consists of people who are untrained in the handling of inquiries and have no knowledge of law. In this context, a fundamental question is raised as to how an IC can exercise their power of a civil court under Section 11, subsection 3. See, internal committee is established by the company inside people. Now, see, it is having a civil court's power, but how it is going to exercise? See, I cannot run a court in my office, though I may be employing 10 people here. A counterpoint is that the external member present in the IC would provide these inputs. However, strangely, Rule 77 only mandates that in conducting an inquiry, the minimum of 3 members of the complaints committee, including the presiding officer, PO, or the chairperson, as the case may be, shall be present. It does not mandate that the external member is present mandatorily. It is time some sort of improvement is done in this area. So the author is trying to say there are a lot of possibilities that this act has to be improved. One can look at how the system of independent directors has been systematized over the past few decades through introduction of director identification number, DIN, training for directors, the registry for director, etc. Something akin to this for IC members may go a long way in creating a more informed IC. See, how will you know that who are in the IC if you are working for a company? So how we have a director identification number for DIN? We should have something about the IC which will be there on the registrar, company registrar's office. Nageshwar Rao Pulipatti as a Prishravi are Hyderabad based advocate. They have written very beautiful written article and taken out some of the shortcomings of the act. So this is something we should know. I intend to conduct this regular session on the POSH Act also in the near future. So we'll go into detail, but it was a good reading and good revision at this juncture as well. We have a little time today as we rejoined everybody. Kindly, if you have any question, you can ask.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
So So I have a doubt. We read about POSH Act, like which cases will be considered and which may not be, like which incidents may be considered.
Right.
So will work from home, like if a woman is working from home and she gets calls from the accused, will it be considered
See,
like
what you
harassment?
read just now, I'll try to answer you. Now, what you read just now, what you saw is something where it is saying that if you are working from home also, it will be considered. Definitely, the corona situation was not there in the beginning. See, we never knew that we will be working from home. I never knew that sitting at Mumbai, I will be appearing for the Supreme Court cases on the video conferencing, which this part we never knew, except that what I remember, the the accused who were in jail, the jail this what vehicle was never brought, and the some of the accused were taken on the video conference. That was the only possibility we have explored through the video conferencing. But when the corona thing happened, the pandemic came, even the court started working on the video conferencing. That is from the top court, Supreme Court, to the magistrate court. I have taken one this India investigation officers on the video call cross examination, who was sitting at the Gondia and I was at Mumbai Session Court. Now here, what you are asking is the question is very perfectly that if you are working from, will it apply? It will definitely apply. It's a matter of common sense. It has to be applied. Anybody cannot come. No, it's not a workplace because you're working. But what this article is saying that if these two employees are going together to a marriage place or some to movie, and that person, another person, as a co-worker does something, will this be covered under the POSH Act? This is what it is saying. I hope I was clear.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Anybody having any more questions?
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Madam, I have one question. If
I
any
would
law is
request
made
the
on the,
party, see, those who are putting the question, tell your name and from which place you are.
I'm Somesh Thorat, completed mechanical engineer and law second year student from Bid district,
Okay.
Maharashtra.
Okay. Okay.
Madam, one question is there. I saw one amendment made by Madhya Pradesh in IPC, section 355B.
Okay.
If like this way any state is made that amendment, then it's called High Court amendment. Something one lawyer said me. Please, you tell me
Oh, I
about High
understood.
Court
What do
amendment.
you want? I have understood what you want to ask. See, there is a possibility that every state government will make an amendment. High Court does not make the amendment. See, High Court courts are for implementation of law. Who legislate or who makes the law? The Parliament and the state government at the state level. And if there is a dispute between two laws made by the state government, the Parliament, and the central government, the law which is made by the central government will be the final law. Now here what happens, what you are talking about the Madhya Pradesh or any other state, I'll give an example of the Maharashtra. We stay in Maharashtra. If there is for Arms Act, the punishment, if you read the Arms Act, it is 3 years, up to 3 years. But here I have found that when I was appearing for one person who was going to the airport, and one dead cartridge was found in his suitcase. Now this boy was arrested, and when I read the act, it was 3 years. But when I stood before the court, the PP said the punishment is 5 years as per the Maharashtra Amendment Act. So amendment is done by the government of the particular state. Or sometimes also from amendment means changes. What is the meaning of amendment? It means changes. Changes is done by the central government or the state government, respective governments. So what you are asking is in the Madhya Pradesh there is one amendment. It is not High Court amendment. It is, I would say, it is an amendment by the state government, and which will be throughout the state of Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Any more questions?
Yes.
And there is one question in the chat box.
From Amit Bhatia, sir, right? Amit ji, there is a one video under for 311 of myself. Vandana, usko इसमें डाल देना आप.
Sure, ma'am.
WhatsApp group में. It can be, see, I would like to say, even though charge sheet is filed, the investigation continues. Even after charge sheet is filed, there is a possibility that police finds any evidence. They can still go and file a supplement. That is called supplementary charge sheet. There are judgments on it also. So the law says the investigation continues. You may file the charge sheet. Filing of charge sheet is like completion of investigation, but then investigation is continues till the trial is over. So always remember this. So what you're talking is under, they will not be recording the statement again in 161. It will be of the new witnesses, and there will be supplementary charge sheet, which is very rare cases. And if you are for the complaint in a private case and you are calling the person, it may be by making an application. If you find some evidence, which may be whatever evidence has come before the court when the case was in the court.